Hey there folks, so this video is going to tell you about how to find sources using Galileo, how to get to Galileo, how to double check that a source is scholarly, and just generally how to do a search in Galileo. So the way that we start out by doing this is, I just pulled up a web browser. What you'll do is you will Google GTC dashboard. This may be the same way that you access your email. It depends on how you choose to do that. So when you Google that, the dashboard for Gwinnett Technical College will come up. You will log in using the students portal. I don't have student access, so I have to use the employee access. Once we log into here, usually it will show you, I had just logged in to just double check to make sure I saw how this was laid out. But it'll usually ask you to log in using your student ID and your password. Once you do that, then you'll come here. I probably have more icons than you do, but what you're going to look for is this one here that shows GTC Library and Galileo. Click on that, and it brings you right over to this library libguides page. Now, the nice thing about this page is that they've broken it down by class. So, we can see, we scroll down here, we are in English class, so boom, there's some English. Let's scroll down a little bit more. We are in ENGL 1101, so we click that, and then we see all of this stuff. Now, there's some things that you can look through that'll definitely help you, help you with your search and things like that. But what we're going to do is we're just going to dive right into the meat and potatoes of this. So we're going to go over to number 5, which is practice researching. I'm going to click there and scroll down. You can see we have a couple of different choices to choose from. I prefer, when it comes to finding sources, choosing Academic Search Complete. It just seems like it provides the most amount of sources and that it gives you the best luck for finding exactly what you need. Now, I will say, a little sidebar here, if you're still having a hard time finding or figuring out which topic you want to work with, definitely check out Gale in Context. They provide like a list of different topics that you can choose from, and that will be beneficial to you if you're still stuck at finding a topic. But when it comes to searches, right, we're just going to click on Academic Search Complete, and boom, it's going to pull up a new page. Okay. So there is a new password for Galileo. It may not come up for you. They're working on getting a single sign-on authentication, which will stop you from needing to do this. I will include an announcement tomorrow in Blackboard to show you what the password is for Gwinnett Technical College for this particular term. It will only work for this term. At this time, I've got it in my brain, and I can't type. Okay, and boom, here we go. We are logging in. Okay, this is the screen that you'll see. So let's, for example, take the topic of legalization of marijuana for pain management. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you, almost everyone chooses legalization of marijuana. So if you want to be, someone who thinks outside the box, pick something different. But since everyone loves to write about it, I'm just going to use that as my topic here for this example. Okay, so I'm going to just type in legalization, marijuana, and I'll type in pain. Okay, boom. Let's see what comes up. Okay, internet. All right, so as this comes up, you'll see, this little note that my initial search didn't provide any results, but the smart text searching, they found stuff. So essentially, they still found things, which is good. You can see there's 2,174 hits, which is kind of a lot, but it's not unmanageable, especially for something like this, and since we're going to limit it again. Okay, so what we're going to do before we look at anything on this page is we're going to come over to the side here. We're going to scroll down, go to this Limit To section. We're going to click Full Text. Okay, we notice we're down to 1238. That weeded out anything that we don't have access to. And then we are going to scroll down to Scholarly Peer-Reviewed Journals. Boom, we'll do that. And that helps to limit even further anything that's from a magazine, a newspaper, something that's not considered scholarly. Now, before I make the next, include the next filter, I will take a second to say that sometimes things that are not scholarly still filter through. And I will show you how to make sure that what we're looking at is scholarly. Okay, So we're going to scroll down one more time. We want to make sure that our topics are, or that our search is relevant. So with something like legalization of marijuana, you want to make sure that you have a decent amount of time so that you can kind of see what's going on in the field. Um, with something like this, that things are rapidly changing just over the last decade, you may want to try to find even more recent sources than the 20-year period that I'm going to ask for you to use. But that's up to you. Okay, and the reason that I say that you might want to find more recent sources for something like this is because there's been so many changes in laws and that sort of thing that you may find conflicting information if you find an older source and then a newer source, and you really don't want to have to deal with that conflict. Okay, but just for assignment requirements, I'm going to keep it to the last 20 years. Okay, like I said, you might want to do 10, especially if it's a field that keeps changing, if it's something in technology, something in medicine, but we'll keep it to 20 for the purposes of this demonstration. So once we unclick that, it's going to update again. And we are going to see our 412 stay at 412. Cool. Okay, so now when we're thinking about this, right, we are talking about legalization of marijuana regarding pain and pain management. But we also want to think about like where we want to see this. Are we talking about in the United States? And the great reason for me to bring this up is because this second source, attitudes towards medical cannabis legalization among Serbian medical students, well, is that necessarily relevant to what's happening in the United States? And I mean, it could be, right? But this is a different part of the world that has different regulations, different laws, things like that. So I'm going to recommend for like say someone came up to me, one of you came up to me and said, well, can I use this source talking about legalization of marijuana in regards to pain management in the United States? And I would say, there might be some good contextual information in there, but I think that you should stick to something that is more focused on the United States. Okay, just to keep yourself focused. Now, let's take a look at this first one here. Okay, high time for advancing marijuana research. And the reason that I did that, actually, let me click back, is because these subjects here, so drug legalization, medical marijuana, treatment of intractable pain, nausea treatment, glaucoma treatment, all of these things surround the concept of pain management, right? So that seems like it may be something that could benefit our topic. So let's click through and we will see what we see here. Okay, so we see a couple of things. One, the big thing that I want you to focus on is the abstract. Okay, so we can see the author discusses the economic health benefits of the legalization of the use of marijuana in the US. The author mentions medical use for marijuana as treatment for intractable pain, nausea, and glaucoma. Importance of the consequences of cannabis use, considering the medical treatment for marijuana, details about the result of the research study by the National Institute of Drug Abuse, suggesting the number of marijuana users or adolescents are presented. Okay, so if that information in the abstract seems to fit with the argument that you're trying to make, the first thing that you want to do, you say, okay, cool. Now, let me make sure that this source is scholarly. Okay, the way to do that is to look into, this publication, Nature Neuroscience. Google it, see what it's about. Is it something that is, written by scientists for scientists? Is it something that's written for the general public? Um, if it's something that's written for the general public, not scholarly. If it's something that's written by scientists for scientists or for students studying to become scientists in this field, then that'll definitely work. Okay, if Nature Neuroscience is peer reviewed, if you Google it and you find that out, fabulous, that'll work. Okay, but the biggest thing is that you want to have kind of multiple searches going on if Galileo doesn't provide you with all of the information that you need. Sometimes what will happen is they'll have a list of authors right at the top, and they'll have like little postscripts after their names where you scroll down and it'll tell you what university they're affiliated with, that sort of thing. Okay, so if the author is affiliated with a university and they're writing in the field that they are an expert in, and they're writing for other scholars in that field or for students trying to become scholars in that field, then you know you are good. All right. So Say that that's the case here. We've researched Nature Neuroscience. We feel like this is a good source. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying, say that we've done this. And, we recognize that this is a scholarly source appropriate for our assignment. The abstract looks great. I'm going to recommend that you actually download the document. And the reason that I say this is because I've had students every term come up to me and tell me that they can't find the source that they were using on Galileo anymore. Either they revamped the search terms, or maybe we no longer have access to it through our library. So anytime you find something worth using, what you want to do is you want to just click on this PDF full text over to the left here, and it'll pull up this screen, okay? What you'd want to do then is you'd want to hit this little download guy, boom. We're going to click that. It's going to ask you where you want to save it. You save it where you want, okay? I'm not going to save it because really I don't care too much about marijuana research, but you would save it wherever you need it, okay? And just in case you feel like this is going to work for you, and so you don't have to search again, I want you guys to actually cite it. So what you'll do is you come over here to this little, it almost looks like a yellow piece of paper. And if you hover over it, you'll see that it says cite. Boom, we click cite, and it gives us this citation format kind of menu here. Now, note that we have to scroll down to find MLA. These are the formatting styles. Okay, we do not use Brazilian national standards. We don't use American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, Chicago. We don't use any of these. What we use is MLA. So what we would do is we would actually just highlight this information here, and we would copy. Let's open up a Word doc. Okay, we've got a Word doc now. So we will paste that in. Look at that. So you see how, let me zoom in, how there's some kind of shading behind the letters? That's because we just used the paste function without matching the current formatting, okay? What you want to do is you want to click the little paste guy, and you want to click match destination formatting, and that removes the shading. If you don't remove the shading before it's too late, essentially, then you have to like retype the whole thing out. And since there's so many different punctuation marks and different italics, you don't want to do that. Okay, so you would do this for, you'd follow these search terms and use different search terms for 3 sources. Okay, and then what you want to do is have them all on your list. You want to format this as you would format a works cited page. All right, so that would mean we title it as works cited. We highlight everything, okay? Change the font to Times New Roman, size 12. And then we have to double space. And then what we'll want to do is highlight just our sources and go down to paragraph. Okay, right click, paragraph, and go to this indentation section and hit hanging. Okay, we'll see by 0.5 inches, that's perfect. We click that, boom, it does it for us. Now, what you'll also want to do, since you'll have multiple sources, is keep them highlighted, and you'll hit this A to Z button, which will sort it in alphabetical order. Okay, so you would sort by paragraphs, leave everything the same, hit OK, and it'll sort it into the correct order for you. All right, so that is how you want to follow your searches through Galileo, how you want to check to make sure your source is scholarly, how you want to narrow the sources that you're finding, and then how you want to create a works cited page for the sources that you found. All right, so if you have questions, as always, please send me an email. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, whenever it is that you're watching this, and I will see you soon.